A terrified woman runs to a gas station and begs for help in the middle of the road. However, the assistant is finished for the afternoon and switches out the lights. They're shut to say. Then, the A woman scrambles to the phone booth and dials 911, frantically stating that her 2 sons have been taken. She's unexpectedly hindered by a splendid light emission that encompasses the corner, making it vanish with her inside. The representative emerges and tracks down only the base and some smoke. As he pivots to call the police, the stall falls and crashes on the ground. The following day, the police arrive to conduct an investigation. Despite the fact that the clerk is branded a liar by some of the police, he tells the story. Officer Murphy looks at what's left of the booth and finds the woman's ID. He wonders where she is currently. In the meantime, in the city, April and her sweetheart Kyle are pressing for an end-of-the-week trip to a family cabin in the woods that April owns. Kyle announces last minute that he has welcomed 3 companions to accompany them without telling her, which drives April a digit crazy. She finally relaxes and her mood improves as they travel. Seth chooses to fire a flare for fun, so they turn out to be pulled over by Murphy. At the point when he hears where they're going, he cautions them that the area has experienced unusual disturbances, such as animal slaughter and break-ins, so they should exercise caution. Subsequent to allowing the gathering to go with only an advance notice for their way of behaving, Murphy visits the local farmer after discovering a dead pig. He felt that the coyotes got it done. However, Murphy argues that the wound is too clean and precise. He's seen the same mutilation before, on all of the local animals. They begin experiencing problems as soon as the group reaches the cabin. Some amusement with the pool and alcohol. Following a couple of long periods of wasting time, Mel takes her canine out. April goes with them for a walk. The young ladies visit while they partake in the view. However, out of nowhere, the canine hears something and starts yapping as it takes off. The barking leads the girls to a location, hindered by a wall with a dreadful scarecrow. However, they disregard the counter-intruder signs and cross at any rate. As they glance around, they discover a few tents holding a lot of Mary Jane plants, and she tries to steal some because she is so excited. Before long, the canine revisitations of them just to be trailed by the owner of the property, who uses an axe to threaten them. The girls attempt to justify their search for the fact that they are staying in the cabin and the dog. The man realizes after hearing about the cabin, he is familiar with April because his name is Travis and he was a friend of her family. He met April when he was a kid. The girls accept his invitation to the house once April also remembers him. They talk for some time. Also, Travis shares a few insights concerning the PTSD he's going through since he battled in the conflict. Also, he shows them an image of a strange flying item that his movement-enacted warm cameras picked up. He suggests that the Army has been using the area and that it is a classified military aircraft. Since the end of the Cold War, Travis rants about having to live and believes a lot in conspiracy theories. Off the grid so that you won't be watched. Ultimately, the young ladies need to return. However, they try to get some Mary Jane from Travis first. At the point when the young ladies return to the house, they share the plants and smoking is fun for everyone. Kyle abruptly moves April to a different room and expresses how much he values her, before getting down on one knee to make the proposal. Anyway, April answers she can't and uncovers she just hadn't had a chance to tell him yet that she had landed a job in New York. Hurt, Kyle expects she's saying a final farewell to him and tempests out of the room. Their friends don't get it and begin celebrating, yet when they get on, Mel solaces April. At the police station at the same time, Murphy is checking the reconnaissance film from the corner store. The telephone corner truly did disappear under a light, and to Murphy's surprise, it looks like someone is hiding in the light. Since they don't have a television or cell phone, the group gets drunk later because they are bored. Telephone administration. While everyone else is watching, Kyle and April attempt to communicate, but their conversation is intruded on when they see an enormous chunk of fire descending overhead and crashing in the forest with a significant explosion. The group goes to look into the situation while Seth records everything on his phone, assuming that they saw an airplane. However, when they find a real spaceship and footprints, they are shocked, indicate that aliens are currently roaming the forest. Panicked, the gathering surges back to the lodge and quarrels about what to do while it begins pouring. Seth points out that the authorities won't accept them if when they call. April suggests that they simply drive back to the city. The power goes out suddenly. Be that as it may, April says it's typical in light of the tempest. They go to the cellar to really look at the breakers. At that exact moment, they also hear strange noises and the dog barking. Thinking back on her father, April quickly snatches the gun from that basement before the group returns upstairs. The lodge is totally dull, so the gathering utilizes spotlights to check out the room, tracking down a lot of broken things. A lightning strike illuminates the area, and the group spots an alien waiting. The glass entryway. The alien vanishes as the glass shatters as April immediately fires. When the group sees that the alien has fallen into the pool, it rushes outside and slowly sinking. Everyone finally agrees to leave, freaking out, and rushes to the car to get away. After a couple of moments of driving, they find a fallen tree impeding the main street to the city. When they look closer, they see that the cut is too clean, so it wasn't the lightning, did it? When they look back, they see that the rain has only stopped suddenly falling in a few places on the road. At that point, a red light covers the region, and the gathering looks up to discover a spacecraft from another planet hovering above them. Back to the car they rush. However, the spaceship damages every electronic component, resulting in the vehicle not starting. Panicking, Lex escapes the vehicle, so the outsiders utilize the opportunity to utilize their light and hijack her. Hysteria takes control of the group, and they begin to run toward the forest. In the interim, Murphy continues his investigation. What's more, finds a camper van in the forest encompassed by a wreck. He knocks, but no one answers, so he goes inside and finds a camcorder on the ground, which he gets to watch the last film. A couple is out setting up camp when they out of nowhere see a light overhead. The kid runs off to get a superior look, only to be lifted up by a beam and taken away by the aliens. Murphy investigates more deeply after the video ends. The bathroom and observes blood in the vehicle. Then, at that point, the mother from the video emerges from stowing away to assault him. He calms her down, and the woman tells him that aliens kidnapped her husband and their son, claiming that they use experiments to learn everything there is to know about people. Murphy refers to ambulance, and before she is taken away by the doctors, the woman asks Murphy to help the people who are caught in the spaceship. The outsiders bring a great many people back, however, there are still hundreds up there. Some have even been there for a really long time. They return to April's group and reach Travis's location, and have to control the man as he attacks them because he thinks they are trespassers. They show him Seth's video and tell him everything. After that, Travis explains that the American government, since Roosevelt's time in office, has signed a treaty with extraterrestrials. It is stated in this treaty that are permitted to kidnap people for experiments, and in return, people can continue to act as though they own the planet. There is only one very important rule. Don't try to talk to the aliens, which April shattered when she shot one of them. Mel notices something at that point. Radar, and Travis affirms that it's the spaceship, which rapidly vanishes from the screen. Travis says that implies it landed. Unexpectedly, the lights go out, so everybody begins running aside from Travis, who lets them know how to return to their lodge while he stays to battle. He discovers a crack in one of his tents, and when he hears the outsider moving in the dimness, he starts shooting. There's no outsider body around, so next Travis conceals under a table and glances around with his electric lamp. When he fires again after seeing the alien leap above him, and he hears the body of the creature fall before him. Some dreadful outsider goo falls all over. Travis comes out of hiding thinking it's over, only for one more strange to snatch him. April's group arrives at the cabin in the interim and begins boarding up every window. April only peeks through the window to hear an odd noise outside, to find an outsider remaining extremely close to home while exceptionally brilliant lights radiate through the glass. Set, in a state of panic, fires, nearly hitting Murphy and his partner Mitchell. Abruptly burst in. The police promptly cuff Seth and cross-examine the gathering, not accepting their story when they smell the Mary Jane in the room. To demonstrate it, April takes them to the pool, only to find that the body had vanished. Unexpectedly, one more commotion could be heard in the outbuilding. Murphy goes inside to look, finds some goo, and is horrified to find Mel's dog dead with the organs out. Murphy tries to stop the alien from jumping out the window as it runs past him at that moment. Shooting yet misses every one of the shots. The outsider can be heard going through the hedges. Yet rather than pursuing it, Murphy gets back to the squad car and illuminates Mitchell that the companions are telling reality. Mitchell begins giggling and advises Murphy that he wants to continue on, saying that his girlfriend just broke up with another guy. Anyway, Murphy is certain she was kidnapped on the grounds that she just overnight. She vanished from the bed without taking her clothes or keys. The police then prepare to depart with an arrested Seth, but an alien suddenly appears in the middle of the road at that moment. Murphy freezes as he gazes at the splendid light, not hearing Mitchell and Seth hollering at him to go. Murphy suddenly grabs his gun, fires, kills himself, and the alien moves its hand. After the outsider vanished, April emerges to free Seth and return him to the lodge. He explains that Murphy was mind-controlled by the alien, and that he became so terrified that he used a police gun to strike Kyle. Seth decides to flee on his own after blaming April for the events and leaves the lodge while offending the others. Seconds after the fact, the entire structure begins shaking and brilliant lights show the appearance of the spaceship. The aliens then play a high-pitched sound that everyone is paralyzed and suffers terrible pain. Various appliances and light bulbs explode, resulting in a minor fire. Mel and April rush to the as the house appears to be falling down in its entirety. Basement, but Kyle stays behind to protect the girls and uses a bookcase to block the door. An outsider shows up at the entry and Kyle shouts at it, insulting the animal into pursuing him as he ascends stairs. Seth, on the other hand, raced through the forest until his flashlight ran out of power. He starts shooting in various directions as he lights a glow stick and makes an odd noise. At that second, the outsiders appear and go after him, leaving him seriously injured. Seth is able to crawl off and fastens his arm to the tree in handcuffs, but the light still takes him and leaves his arm behind. Behind the arm, Kyle waits in the bathroom of the cabin with a knife, but an alien gets through the door. At any rate, reflect and grabs him. An empty medicine bottle falls from the basement at the same time. Mel admits that she is self-deleting because it is preferable to being kidnapped by aliens. April grabs a crowbar and prepares to return after Mel passes away in her arms, but she halts when the rumbling and lights go away. Amazed, April drops the crowbar and gradually makes her way higher up, where she finds the power has returned. She stood in a pool of blood on the floor, discovers Kyle's engagement ring, revealing to her that he had been dumped. April runs outside in a fit of rage and she grabs some fireworks and begins shooting them into the spaceship as she sees it departing. Sky to draw the aliens' attention. April kneels down when at first nothing happens, thinking that Kyle was lost forever. Anyway, the spaceship then returns and kidnaps her as well. April awakens a few seconds later to find herself trapped in an unpleasant cocoon. After some difficulty, she escapes and begins to walk down a hallway, passing other bodies along the way. She reaches the end of the corridor in bright light and discovers that she has been transported to an alien planet city. Seth also wakes up in a different room and is terrified to see that his arm has disappeared. An alien machine begins torturous experiments on him, such as inserting a bug through his skin, his belly button, inserting a probe up his rear, and using lasers to draw on his skin. Eventually, Seth succumbs to the excess and dies. Back to April. She keeps on meandering through the hallways and until she locates Kyle. She examines the cocoon's corpses. She gives him CPR and frees him immediately, as she is sorry for everything. Kyle awakens and several offers an embrace before the outsiders locate them. A light encompasses Kyle and April and they clutch each other, reasoning they'll kick the bucket, just to show up back in the Timberland out of nowhere. They leave holding hands and celebrate with a kiss. Hands wanting to track down help. A commotion shows individuals close by and 2 or 3 discovers a few fighters, who fire, bringing them both to their deaths. April takes the ring with her last breath, and Kyle puts it on her finger just before another shot kills the soldiers. Following that, bodies are tossed in an opening and burned to the ground. The soldiers keep cleaning the area and getting rid of any evidence that could support the government's agreement with aliens or the existence of aliens. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel.